Hey, mushroom nerds, it's Anna McHugh, and I am enjoying the company of a cordyceps type mushroom. It's the end of May 2025, so it's getting to be mushroom time in the southeastern US. And I have a bunch of videos that cover the wild mushrooms that come up in my area in the southeast. I live in Raleigh, North Carolina. So as I extrude and extract this beautiful cordyceps type mushroom to share with you, I also want to encourage you to like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. All right. So I have retrieved this really elegant and beautiful organism. This is not a mushroom I intend to eat. I also want to share my provisional identification that I got backed up by a buddy, but it is provisional because if you're out in the field collecting wild mushrooms, part of the process is saying, well, I think it might be this, but also I need to go home and hit the books. All of that said, I believe this to be Ophiocordyceps is the genus name, and melolonthae is the species name. I don't think it has a common name, but again, I need to go home and do a little bit more research. But as I rotate it, it really has some remarkable features that are shared between what are called entomopathogenic fungi. So I started off with a lot of ebullience and excitement about cordyceps. So let's back up a little bit, talk about what that is. And in essence, entomopathogenic fungi are fungi that attack and parasitize some sort of other organism. And in the case of entomopathogens, that refers specifically to insects. So Ophiocordyceps melolonthae, this specific bugger here, actually parasitizes a beetle. And so as you can see, basically this fruiting body is the beetle that has been parasitized, taken over by the fungus, and that is the fungus's lifestyle. The lifestyle of cordyceps is to basically, parasitize their host and then use the host to produce a wonderful fruiting body. And but in the case of this particular Ophiocordyceps, you can see that it has these little legs sticking out, and it also has a little sort of black head. So that's actually the head of the beetle itself that's sort of emerging. But the rest of this fruiting body is like you can still see the contours of the beetle's body, but really the entirety of this is sort of soft and fleshy in the way that this fruiting body is. And, cordyceps, there are many, many different species of them. Ophiocordyceps is but one genus that, you'll see, but there are a lot of, medicinal uses of cordyceps mushrooms. Also a lot of hoopla and hullabaloo about, them producing sort of zombie ants and, zombies on HPO. I find these organisms just to be magnificent because the life cycle is so unique. And so in the case of this particular sucker, it is attacked, again, this very specific beetle. Now, in the case of this Ophiocordyceps, my understanding is that they can live on a variety of Japanese beetles primarily. But, they are specific to beetles, whereas a lot of your other cordyceps and the cordyceps that are far more well known medicinally, they grow on moth and butterfly. So the Lepidoptera, the order of, I think it's an order. Anyway, fluttery, buttery, butterfly and mothy things. So oftentimes when you find a cordyceps or you see a cordyceps, in a magazine, it will be growing on a larva that is actually a moth. And so another similar sort of winged insect. Whereas, again, in this case, you have something that's leggy, something that's really lumpy and stumpy. And then, this fruiting body is really variable depending on what kind of cordyceps you have. This also is what makes it hard to find cordyceps type mushrooms in the wild sometimes, because in the case of this mushroom, it was just basically sticking out this much of it from the leaf litter. I am in an oak grove. My understanding also is that this particular, the Ophiocordyceps See, now I'm trying to learn a new scientific name, melolonthae. We'll see if I can retain that. But anyway, it is oftentimes reported in oak groves, so that's another sort of tell for me. And this fruiting body is really distinctive because, you know, a lot of cordyceps, they have either very, very slender or thread-like, sometimes multiple fruiting bodies, and many of them, especially the cordyceps species that are medicinally valuable, have kind of a pimply surface on the fruiting body, whereas in the case of these Ophiocordyceps, they're sort of a tannish yellow color, and the entire fruiting body is smooth. And of all of the different identification features that I looked at when, you know, examining this mushroom, first of all, it was most important to dig all the way to the base and see that, you know, this isn't just a sort of generic club fungus. It is, in fact, growing on something. And then I had to look even closer and say, oh, it is growing on a beetle, because look, there are these, here, let's see if I can get a good focus, these little hairy legs on the side and this little beetle head. At first I was like, oh, this has got to be a moth. And I'm like, nah, there isn't a moth that looks like this. And then secondarily, as I ascended up and sort of examined it further, the lack of sort of a pimply surface sort of separated me off from those cordyceps species that are, again, more well-known and sort of iconic from a medicinal point of view. I don't really have much more to say except that I'm just absolutely delighted that the mushrooms are back. I think this is a really good illustration of why, when you are out in the wild collecting mushrooms, it is important to collect the entirety of your specimen, also to do a variety of and use a lot of different research tools. Like, I'm sharing this with you because I wanted to make a video while I'm out here in the woods, in situ, on the day and time that I actually found it. But to get full confidence and a full understanding and even mastery of how to say this species name, I want to go home, I want to hit the books. And so, you know, I have consulted with a couple of my internet pals. I've looked at some websites. I went to iNaturalist. So there are like 3 or 4 sort of basic information gathering steps that I can take when I'm out in the woods. But I can never, I can never, with a new to me species, provide a full confidence ID. And that is very often the case with, you know, mushrooming. I don't see this species very often. This maybe is the 3rd or 4th time I've ever observed it in my many years gathering mushrooms for food and for fun in my neighborhood. So if you find something that looks, you know, a little bit club-like, be it pimply or be it nice and smooth, you should root around, rummage around at the base, see what you have going on here. It most likely won't be a zombie, but it may be some sort of interesting insectoid type of thing. Or, you know, there are other cordyceps that actually grow on things that aren't insects at all. But that is for another date, another time. I hope you're well. Find a billion mushrooms. Let's talk again soon.